Well, has it been a week? It's gone very quick. We're back again. It's The Big Picture with myself and Arkin. And Arkin, we were talking about that Russian guy about 6 weeks ago, the one who's going to have a head transplant. Remember that?
He is the head that is to be transplanted.
Yes. His name is Valery Spiridonov, and he's...
Do you think he'll change his name after the operation?
I don't know. Will he recognize himself after the operation? That's another point, isn't it? He's actually recently hit out at people who've claimed that the operation is just a total hoax. He said he's flying to see the neurosurgeon Sergio Cannavaro in New York this week. And he went on to say, I have a disease which often leads to death, but my first role in this project is not as a patient. First of all, I'm a scientist, I'm an engineer, and I'm keen to persuade people, medical professionals, that such an operation is necessary.
Well, he knows himself.
Well, he knows himself. And also, the president-elect of the American Association of Neurological Surgeons, Dr. Hunt Badger, said, I would not wish this on anyone. Doesn't sound like it's going to be a big success, does it?
Well, it doesn't sound like not everyone will enjoy what's happening there.
Absolutely not, no.
And for the ones who have no idea, this guy has a disease that eats up his body. Muscular and skeletal structures are collapsing. That's why he's reduced to only his head. And he is a computer programmer. He's a computer scientist. And he is not out of his mind.
No,
he's
absolutely.
only actually comprised of his mind. And his head is going to be put on another body. So the transplantee is the guy.
He's going to be doing this just basically for medical science.
He's giving himself up for charity. He is to die anyway. And, you know, the scientist that he is, he sees more good in trying to solve other people's problems with his being. So it's for the good. I hope and wish the best for him.
Well, we'll keep looking for results of that. And, of course, we'll broadcast it when we find out. Now then, retaining information. Remembering things. There's talk of the brain not being able to retain or remember information as we get older. Now, this actually seems to be not as accurate as I would have believed, because you've actually shown me a great power of recall yourself. Why do some people have an ability to do this and other people don't? To recall things that they've lived or they've read or they've seen. I find it very difficult. I would have said my age, but I'm not going to put that down to my age.
No. It's not about your age. Funny, I don't remember many things. For example, my wife asks for something, I forget it. But I don't forget a book that I've read 20 years ago.
But if you watched a film yesterday, there's no way you'd forget the title.
Well, if you don't care about it
enough,
enough,
way you'd forget the title.
I think this might be the explanation to that. If you don't care much about it, if you don't put that much effort into remembering things. For example, the first time I ever heard the song Lenny Kravitz, Are You Gonna Go My Way? I had a really tough time trying to remember Kravitz's last name. And it took me like 2 or 3 days, constant repetition, so that I would remember the name. Another one is Richie Sambora, the guitarist from Bon Jovi. His song. I loved the song. I just couldn't remember the title. And I made a habit of repeating things as mantras, important stuff. And if you always say that you don't remember stuff, you can't remember stuff, your mind will just program itself to that, and you won't remember.
I was going to ask you, is it a lack of interest maybe, or maybe is it an attention problem?
There's nothing problematic about attention. It's just the intention. If you intend to learn, if you intend to get interested in it, interest and intention have the same kind of etymological stem. They come from the same roots. That's why I think it all boils down to one thing. Interest, intention, the internalization of stuff. Then you won't have to remember. It'll just be there. Do you ever have to remember your name? That's your being. That's a part of your being.
Yeah. Is it because maybe there's too much going on in your mind?
Maybe.
Are you like
on the surface
totally
level
confused about things in your head?
I was into transcendental meditation for a time. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and his teaching of transcendental meditation. Mm-hmm. They describe or explain the mind as this lake with depths and surface. The surface level may always be muddy with too much waves and ripples that make it hard for you to see what's deep inside.
What's inside?
The calmer you get in your mind, the calmer you are, the more peaceful you are, the deeper you can go and the deeper you can see. That's how meditation helps to realize that you have another layer, another level of depth that you can use, because it's not conscious. It's not always conscious that we get into that level.
Did that help you? Do you think did this enable you to be able to retain?
Not their system, because they had a lack of understanding of their own strength, and they had a lack of communicative ways for me. I couldn't understand what they were talking about. I had to go and find it out myself, and then realize, oh, they were talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they tell me this way? It could have been a lot easier and made more sense. But, it's me. I wasn't ready to understand what they were talking about. And then I came across the idea of being in the moment and living the moment.
Yeah.
Then it all clicked together. Meditation is being in the moment intensely.
So how do you get into the moment? Is there
You don't get into the moment. You are always there. You just have to realize that you are there all the time. You just stop doing things.
Sure, we're always in the moment. You're in the moment now. I'm in the moment now. Someone who's going to be listening to this will be in the moment when they're listening to it. But obviously, that moment for some people isn't as intense as it is for others who have
because
problems.
Everything is basically understanding. And what we understand from this moment is very personal, subjective, and it's subject to your understanding. What my understanding entails is something else than yours. But
so this is where the interest comes in.
Yeah, being in the moment is going with the flow, not caring about other stuff, not having hidden agendas, and being present all the time with your all being. For example, if I'm talking to you right now and checking my messages on my phone, multitasking is the killer of being present. Multitasking has always been glorified in the
female state.
No, not female. Come on. Don't be sexist. Don't be a misogynist here. It has always been glorified in the corporate industries because they wanted everyone to be
Jack of all trades.
And be dealing with stuff all the time, and their minds connected to the surface level electricity wire, the grid. They were kept busy. And this takes a toll on your body as well. That's how stress comes along. That's how you lose your interest in being alive and you start having problems.
That was quite deep.
I wasn't trying to be deep.
You really answered my question. Thank you very much, Vinny, for that.
We can go on talking about this a lot more.
I'm just thinking here. So I understand what you're saying, but some of us don't seem to be able to do that. I can't do this. I have problems remembering what I've eaten for lunch yesterday. I don't even remember a lot about my childhood.
Okay, I can remember what matters to me. When I say what matters to me, it's subjective again. You won't think it matters at all, but it's to you. It's personal. About being able to remember what you ate for lunch. Did you prepare it?
No, I didn't.
Did you order it?
I just it was there, so I
it was given to you.
Yeah.
Did you stop for a moment to thank the food that you were eating? How do you think you're going to remember? Because it didn't matter to you. It didn't hold any significance to you at the point. How do you expect it to be of any good for your body?
Okay, so therefore, then it does boil down to having an interest in a subject, to how much information you can retain.
If you want to remember stuff, pause for 4 seconds, 2 or 3 deep breaths. For example, if I am to get out of this room, give me 4 seconds. If I am to start something new, start the car, give me 4 seconds. If I am to move away from a running train, don't give me 4 seconds.
Maybe we can try that one.
The train?
No, the other. deep breath and 4 seconds. Okay. Right, then let's move on. A headline which
let's move on. Let's not be present in the moment.
Let's move to the next moment. Let's continue the moment with a headline.
There is no next moment, dude. There's only one moment, and it just is.
Well, we're going to stay in this moment.
That's why the explanation, the description of stream of consciousness was wrong. It's not a stream. It's a point. It always is. What changes is what you think, what you feel. It's not a stream. It's a point, and you are looking at that just like looking at a black hole. Nothing comes out of it. Yeah. Everything goes in. Yes, let's see what goes into this moment.
Okay, let's see what's in this moment then. Medicine, headline I saw. Medicine will not only make us live longer, but live better. It talks of 2 sisters who had their stomachs removed to protect them against a generic stomach cancer. that had prematurely killed their father. Researchers are looking to isolate genes that cause illnesses and shorten otherwise healthy lives. I don't know whether to think this is a good thing or a bad thing. Now, if you have let's say, a genetic identical thing that someone in the family has had, surely that is nature. That's meant to happen.
Well, I was just thinking about it while you were reading it. If we are to die, we die. If we are to live, we live.
Yeah.
No matter what we do. For example, if you jump off of a building, it's more likely that you die. But there are people that have jumped off of planes without parachutes
and survived.
And survived.
Yeah, yeah.
It all comes down to what you make of it. You can have your stomach removed or any organ that is prone to a disease, more likely to have that disease. But as long as you have a body, you are prone to diseases. As long as you have a healthy body, you are more prone to mental diseases. Because what is a disease? Not being at ease with what is. That's why it's called a disease. And there's a treatment for it, not always a cure. And when you treat that ailment, it only happens that you have removed the dis-ease part of it and you are more at ease with it. If you don't remove the source of it, you are always going to have it. For example, they have a certain part of their stomach removed, right?
And their stomach, totally.
Yeah, stomach cancer can happen in the remaining part.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? Remove the whole stomach?
Well, researchers say, I think they're going to say that the body isn't programmed to age, and that
I have
aging
said it.
happens because previously we were susceptible to early death from illness and our ancestral genes. We can change your DNA. We can stop you from dying at 46, and you can now live on till you're 75, hopefully.
Will it be any good for the world that you are that old?
Exactly. Well, no, the point I'm going to make here is the problem is now, if nature has decided you will finish your lifetime at that date.
Nature doesn't decide anything for you. Nature, it just is.
The genes, obviously.
The genes don't decide anything because genes are the building blocks of the building. Just like the bricks on the wall don't decide how a building is going to look like. Mm-hmm. The blueprint decides. Genes are the bricks in the wall.
Yeah, that was
not the
point.
structure.
Fact, that's what I should have said. The blueprint. The blueprint is passed down. Then obviously it's meant to happen. Now
you can clear that, by the way.
Keeping people alive, extending their life artificially, if you like, is going to wreck the world. We're talking about 9 billion.
It's not going to wreck the world.
It is wrecking the world. We're talking about 9 billion people on this planet.
It's not wrecking anything. You're just seeing the negative part of it again. What is happening? If you look at it from the family's perspective, their beloved father is going to live longer. Their beloved daughter is going to live longer and a better life. That's good. It's providing happiness. It's providing hope. It's providing peace and health and prosperity. Maybe that person who has her or his life saved is going to try and give back something really valuable.
Sure, I couldn't agree more with that. But what I'm getting at here is
the negative side of it.
Well, if we're going to keep people alive,
you're not doing that.
Aren't we?
We are not keeping people alive.
Well, we are extending the.
No, we are not. We are not doing that. Who is that? We.
Neurosurgeons and
are you a neurosurgeon?
No, I'm not. No, they are. No, they are.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Well, all right, we are. They are. Okay.
They are doing that.
Thank you. Okay, they are doing that.
That thank you was more like fuck you.
No, it wasn't thank you.
I'm sorry. Your buttons were out there so that I could press them.
No, but by keeping people extending their lifespan, when maybe nature's blueprint says you're not going to go that far, we're talking about overcrowding on the.
No, we're not talking about overcrowding on the planet, because when you talk about extending life periods, when you talk about giving life to extending life, that is a very, very minuscule, very small, tiny portion of people who can fucking afford it. The rest who are dying of diseases like that will not be able to afford them and again die off of the same disease. We have found the cure for cancer. You have to afford it.
Surely do. You look at England, for instance. Now you're told, listen, if you're healthy and fit at 65, don't retire. Carry on working.
Exactly.
Because we can't afford to pay you a retirement pension because we haven't got the money. There's too many people at 65 plus. So by extending people's lives by maybe 15, 20 years in some cases, if your blueprint says you're going to go at 46, 48, 50... Then,
so are we to stop this kind of medical development, medical research? No way.
We are overcrowding our own planet.
Not by that.
Or they are overcrowding the planet by doing
Not
this.
by that. Not by medical expansion. Not by that. We are overcrowding the planet because we do not spread out. We are exactly how a cancer cell operates in the body. Choose a healthy spot, multiply until everything dies.
While we're doing that and we're being extended in lifespan.
How do they cure cancer? Remember what I told you. If you don't cut down the source, I don't mean cutting by, with the knife and scissors. If you don't shift, if you don't transform the source that produces this illness, this disease, it'll just go on producing that same thing. That's the understanding of it. So if you don't change your understanding, everything will just go off the hill. And everything is perfect as is. Means it just gives you enough space so that you can make change happen. Overcrowding. It only happens to be a problem after you run out of resources. Then you find out you have to take care of the resources. But I always say this, and this is from the movie again. They said the same thing. I was like, okay, I have a better wording for that. Humans have to die for humanity to thrive. Because humanity is what is kept alive and going and survive in survival mode. How do you survive? By not dying. How do you learn how not to die? By mimicking or by learning from the mistakes of the dead. That's entropy. Entropy is the basis of this 3D planet now, which is turning into something else. That's why everything looks so chaotic. Everything looks so entropic. Everything looks so doomsday scenarios. Everything's going down the hill, right? So be it. So that we can learn. So that the ones who are us, who have an understanding of what is, can survive later on.
Well, we could talk about this for a long time.
And we've been doing it for some months now.
We have indeed. Yeah, this is our third month, actually, we've been doing it. And, I'd love to talk more, but I've got to catch a bus. So can we do it again next week?
Talk about being present, man.
We will do it next week.